Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Let's get your creativity flowing. This show has got all the juice on all your art news. None of that riff-raff, just real authentic art from the coolest young creatives. You are now tuned into Carve Radio. Carve Radio with Celepa Mthembu.
Hello, and welcome. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Carve Radio. My name is Celepa Mthembu, and once again, I am back on your airwaves, trying to give you something good when it comes to all things creative in this art spaces. And today, we're going to be looking into the topic of poetry and just how much influence it has on the art spaces in South Africa and, of course, around the globe. Well, do interact with us on @Carve_radio on Instagram and Twitter, and let us know what you think of this topic, because poetry is big. It's something that's come from an oral tradition from way back. So it would be great to find out from you what you think of it. And in today's show, we have Qhakaza, who's in studio with us and is going to be talking to us about a word and sound festival that she started up for a couple of years, and it's going to be lit. We're going to be calling in a couple of poets and just finding out from them why they got into this industry, and just to see, maybe, you never know, maybe you're one of those people that write a couple of couplets out there and you're maybe thinking that, when you have two words that rhyme, that go together, you could be a poet. We have Qhakaza who's going to break it down for us and let us know if you can really try your luck in this kind of industry. Well, Qhakaza, how you doing?
I'm fantastic, thanks. And how are you?
I'm great. Happy Monday.
Thank you. Happy Monday to you too.
Yeah, Mondays can sometimes throw people off. You're like,
It was a good Monday because I'm on leave this week for the festival, so at least I didn't have to go to work, and that makes all the world of difference, you know.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. What did I do this weekend? My weekend was good. Oh, I actually went and checked out the Jozi Film Festival.
Okay.
And I actually watched Supermodo, which is the Kenyan film that has been submitted for Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars, and I think it definitely should win. It was such an awesome one. So it was a young solo date vibes. So I spent some time with self and then doing a lot of work.
Is that something that you do a lot? Like, you can just go to the movies and hang out by yourself?
I don't do it often enough, I'd say, because then I feel like that awkward one. And like now we're in Maboneng and it's bustling and everyone is just, in their groups, and I'm literally sitting there in the corner with a book just waiting for the film to begin. But it's something different to do. It was nice. Take some time out.
And that sounds like an interesting weekend. I know that the Jozi Film Festival, not only do they highlight South African films, but they also look into other films that are not from South Africa, and they take it to the nouveau, and they give you like a different taste of film, right?
It was fantastic.
It's not what you usually see in the cinema, right?
Yeah. And I was actually even just like, oh, should I stay for the next film? Then I was just like, babes, you've got a festival. You need to go home and work is what you need to do. So yeah. It was awesome though.
Speaking of, how are the arrangements coming along for this festival?
This is the 8th year that we're running this festival, and each year I'm just like, it's going to get easier, but each year it's just manic. But yeah, arrangements are going good. I mean, we're in the week of festival. It kicks off on Wednesday, so I think they've come together. So now it's just really just about getting the word out. All of the artists who we have on the lineup are really excited. We have got the Canadian artist who's already traveling, so she's just let us know that she's on her way, which is really, really exciting. We have a lady from Belgium who's arriving as well tomorrow afternoon. So yeah, getting into the nervousness and into the hype. But yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, let's talk a bit about why you decided to have a word and sound company. What's so important about poetry that you thought, okay, let's make a whole company that's gonna dedicate it to just this craft?
So I mean, back in the day, poetry used to be really, really big in Joburg, then there was a time when it kind of died down, right? And when I came back from varsity, then there was the World Cup, and after the World Cup, they literally, like, Newtown as an art space had really died down, because also they'd cleared out all of the artists so that all of the tourists can have some nice times, and then when the tourists went home, it was like, okay, so now what?
Empty.
And there wasn't any events happening or whatnot, but being able to look back and realize how important poetry was for me in growing up and finding my voice and realizing that actually people have opinions and it's perfectly fine for you to state whatever the opinion is, and actually quite important, you know. I was just really sad that there's a generation that's going to grow up after me that doesn't have that, you know. At the same time, my co-founder Tabiso Mohara Afurakan, he hadn't been on stage in a while. Also, he was really like in the like entrepreneurship vibe, and there weren't any stages for him, and he was really also wanting to get on stage. So we literally started Word and Sound just for that, you know, for us to be able to bring back that space where young people can like just express and just like feel free to do that, and critically engage as well on social issues. We know that poetry is one that does well when it comes to social commentary. And I think it just came at a time where young people were wanting that space, because man, it just blew up into something. What Word and Sound is today is not what we dreamt it would be, you know. And I think internationally as well, once we were able to tap into using digital, you know, being able to tap into an international market, the world is interested in what South Africa has to say. There were artists who are wanting to come through, you know, so we've been able to grow, and we're also just wanting to get young people excited about getting on stage, so we brought on a competitive element to it, and that's been our main show, you know, which runs for a year, where we have poets competing and coming through, and the finale is sort of like the big part of the festival. So that's also, there are 5 very nervous poets out there who are preparing for this Saturday. Thank goodness I don't have to get on stage and compete. But yeah, it really was just about how do we create a space that can give young people a platform, but then as well seeing how powerful spoken word is as a tool for development and for youth development. We've then built it to be much bigger than just sort of like a poetry stage, but it's a movement. It really is, and it's amazing to see the support as well that it's gained locally and internationally. It's fantastic.
Do you ever take it back to like oral tradition, like reminding people of like how this is something that if for many African families, that this is how communication started, and like a form of people to express themselves before even music? I think sitting down on a campfire and doing that, like clan praises and all of that's where poetry comes from.
Yes, and I mean, I think it's also really interesting. So what we do is that we're always keeping an eye out for like artists who are traveling through South Africa or whatnot. So we recently had a Ghanaian poet, actually 100%, who was on stage, and to be able to give artists space to reflect and speak about their journey. And a lot of times people would actually start with that, you know, to be able to say like, this is not nothing new like in my family or whatnot, but we have this oral tradition, you know. I think also if you're looking locally in South Africa, I know, I mean, my first poetry that I'd heard was like at Regina Mundi at one of the June 16 commemorative events, you know, because we know that within the liberation movement, art played a big role. So you'd find that a lot of South Africans, actually, that's the first time that you're starting to be introduced to spoken word or to this art form. So I think it definitely does go back to that for a lot of artists.
Well, give us a bit of a breakdown of this program, or what should we be expecting this week?
Right, so this week it kicks off with Wednesday. We have our open mic night. So there's the competitive stage, and people were just like, yo, what if I want to perform but I just don't want to?
Yeah, because it's the pressure.
So we've had we host an open mic in Newtown every first and last Wednesday of the month. So that's what we kick off with Poetry Corner. That's at 7 p.m. and it's free. And then on the Thursday night,
this is happening at the Auntie Bakery and Cafe.
Yes, Auntie Bakery and Cafe. That's right opposite the Market Theatre in Newtown.
Okay.
Then Thursday we have the kickoff of the Word and Sound Academy, which is why we've got Tanya Evanson, who is an amazing arts educator. She's a poet, a producer, who's coming through from the Banff Centre of Creative Arts, which is in Toronto, Canada, and she's coming through to school us on all things writing and performance. So there'll be 2 days of workshops there. The amazing thing is that the workshops are also completely free. You just need to find us just like on Facebook so that you can register for that. So that will be all day Thursday and Friday. In the evening on Thursday, we have what is going to be a really, really interesting show. It's art meets poetry meets music, right? So we've got Lerato Dichaba, who is an amazing instrumentalist, who is going to be jamming pretty much with a wide like variety of artists. So we've got Mutle Mutibe, we've got Mutinta Benkele, Afura Khan, you know, some of the local guys, but then we've also got 3 international artists. Tanya's one of them. We've got Lizette from Belgium, and then we've got Prince K from Namibia, and it really is just going to be like impromptu, nothing rehearsed, but let's see what magic happens when we all get on stage and do the things.
Are they going to be doing the poetry together?
Together with the music. The music is going to speak to the poems are going to speak to the music.
Whoa.
I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know it's going to be a great night.
Yes, and that is happening where?
That's at the JNB Hive in Braamfontein. I mean, that's also just such an amazing space just for creatives to collaborate. So they run a creative entrepreneurship program that they've got, and the base of it is collaboration. So we bring creatives into this space, we train them up and whatnot, but also what's big is that we also create a space for them to be able to collaborate. So we're going with that vibe and that feel that JNB Hive have got, and we're saying, let's see what happens when musicians and poets collaborate.
Yeah.
And then on Friday, I'm going to do a little, just keep an eye out on our social media. Friday evening, a little something.
Wow.
But let's just leave it at that.
Surprise.
Then Saturday we have the finale. So that's what I talked about. I mean, the poetry competition. So we have had about 60 young poets from Johannesburg and Pretoria competing each month from February for this title that's about to be
what's
awarded.
up for grabs?
So what's up for grabs? So we've got a publishing company that we have. So the winner of the slam actually walks out like with a book that they get to publish. And Tsepo Molefe, who is our current reigning champ, we are sort of in the final stages of actually putting his book together. There's also a cash prize that's out there. And there's also some bragging rights, you know. I think it takes a lot to be crowned the Word and Sound Poetry League champion. There are some of the best poets who come onto that stage, and for you to be able to say, I kicked everybody's asses on that stage, you know, is a lot. So that's happening on Saturday at the Market Theatre Lab. And then on Sunday we're introducing something completely brand new. You know how we go to food markets and we all love like the food markets? We were then saying, how can we bring books to life in the same way? So can we go to a book market, you know? So the whole point of it is we'll have books on sale, we'll have the authors available for you to take selfies with, get your book signed and stuff. So we've got Qabiso Vili, we've got Mac Manaka, Tanya Evanson's also going to be launching her book. We've got Lebogang Masango, who's also known as Nova. Aside from sort of doing the poetry, she also then writes children's books, so we're getting into that. Raphael Dabdon, and then we've also got Shokes from the Free State, who's also going to be coming through and launching his book. So it really is just about bringing books to life. So the festival, whether you like to perform or watch others perform, whether you like music, whether you like books, whether you just like interesting experiences, we have got it all for you.
Wow, it definitely sounds like a festival that everybody needs to head out to. And I mean, this is family friendly for everybody to come to?
Yeah. So I mean, that's part of what we've done. I mean, in the theatre that we're at right now, so most theatres are saying that, I mean, kids can only come in from about 12, 14 or so. And we're just like, no, bring your kids. They're not gonna cry in between performances, you know.
Because that just might throw off a poet. Like
that would definitely throw off a poet. But we like to engage kids when they're still young, and there's kids who actually come through to the show and really enjoy what's there. And you never know what kind of seed you're planting, you know. So the shows are definitely child friendly. So bring your kids along. Specifically, like the Sunday event, it really is just like a chilled event where
book fair.
The book fair where we're like just encouraging people to like buy books, and also because Lebohang's going to be there with the children's book by Mpumi's Magic Beads. It's actually quite a really amazing.
Is she gonna do a live reading?
We'll see. I mean, if there's some kids around, maybe it could be nice, or maybe she could read to us adults, you know, just remind us of our inner child.
Yes.
But I think the amazing thing about that book is that it's now being translated into all 11 official languages, if I'm not mistaken, you know.
Wow.
So whether you want to buy the book Kasizulu or Kastswana, you know, you now are able to do that. So yeah, it's quite exciting, something different from the family to do as well. So bring them out.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. You guys are doing a really, really good job. Hey,
thank you.
Literally representing the poetry industry the best way I know how. I mean, it's not often that you find a lot of poetry events. I know that there are a couple of poetry slams here and there. Do you think what's the competition out there? Are you guys bothered by other people that are doing poetry events? Like, how is the space?
So what we've seen in the 8 years is that there really has been like a blowing up of the poetry scene. So I actually just tweeted last week that over the next 3 weeks, so from last week to this week, there've been so many events. You know, there's the Eves and Bongi Poetry Festival that we were just collaborating with last week at UJ. There's been like Sipakazi Jonas, who was here, and she had her show. There's our festival. Sort of like 2 weeks after our festival is Poetry Africa. So there definitely is like a lot of poetry movements who have really come from there. And for us, I mean, our philosophy right from the beginning was very simple, is that we don't have competitors. We just have like collaborators, because we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to grow poetry to be a real thing, you know. So how do we rather work together for it? So certainly not threatened or worried about other movements that are popping up. In actual fact, I'm mad excited, you know, because then that allows us to be able to work together, to collaborate. You know, we've just had the two gentlemen, the founders of Words in My Mouth in Mpumalanga, coming through to Joburg. They're wanting to learn from us. They wanted to support us as well. You know, we've been able to launch in Cape Town. Banga's taken the brand to Cape Town. There's Puns and Tings, which is in Pretoria. There's Hear My Voice, which is actually based in Pretoria. But right now, as we speak, they are currently rocking the stages in Sweden, you know, just from the work that they've done. So for us, I think it's amazing to be able to see that actually there's a lot that's happening, and it's not just us who are doing it, but there's like a movement like that's just gathering, you know. And I think for us, that gives our art form a lot more strength, you know. I think people tend to look down on poetry. They're just like, hey, you know, and all of that. But now, I mean, we've been able to breathe such excitement into it, and to be able to like travel the world. I mean, just the international projects that we've done, or the number of international guests that we've hosted, or taken local poets to different countries, has been amazing in the last 8 years. And I can't wait to see what comes in the next 8 years, you know?
Yeah. Well, speaking of, we have a finale, one of the finale people that are part of the finale, actually, Mjele, who's on the line with us, and he's going to talk to us a bit about how he's feeling about the big day. Hey, Mjele, how are you doing? Hello. Hi, Mjele. Hello. Hey, Mjele, how are you? Okay, we can't seem to have him on the line at the moment. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll hopefully have him on the line and just talk to him about how he's feeling about the big day that's coming up.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za.
It's the official Major World Online Stu Invasion.
Bars on bars.
What about me right now? It's about our guest. Bafethi skip on. I'm out ngatsalele bafethi. Yo, I'm a play nyane studio bafethi skip on. Oh, freestyle nyane. Shenge freestyle. Fana kuma no baba Andy.
Hey baba Andy phe. Hashtag.
Ahlanganisela mawuthi beat dog ngokucela.
Young niggas ambition, waking up is working for money. Changing their past, feeding their fams, balang lali. We keep it running like SPV, exchanging money.
Man, nice. Hey, nice. Call them unexpected experts. White sweatshirt.
Hey.
Looking down on these niggas, my damn neck hurts.
Woo.
You can go ahead, homie, give me your best work. I bet you take your phone out and mumble up your first words.
Live from 27 boxes in the heart of Melville. This is brandlive.co.za.
Oh, hello, and we are back. Mjele, we were meant to call in Mjele, who's part of the Word and Sound Poetry and Live Music series, and this festival is about to happen this coming week, starting from Wednesday all the way until Sunday, all in all parts of Johannesburg, right? CBD, we could say what?
Yeah, CBD. So we're based in Braamfontein and Newtown, pretty much is where all the events are going to be happening, and Auckland Park. Yes.
And Auckland Park. It's going to be super dope. You definitely don't want to miss this. Now we have Mjele Msimang on the line, and he's one of the finalists of this big competition that's going to be happening on the 6th of October. Hey Mjele, how are you doing?
Greetings. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Tell us a bit about how you're feeling. The big day is coming this coming Saturday. How's it like? Are you feeling the pressure at the moment?
110%. It's nerve-wracking, but at the same time, it's also quite beautiful because my fellow competitors have made it feel like it's not even a competition. The way we're supporting each other, the way people are using such gentle, loving, encouraging words with one another, it doesn't even feel like a competition. But I'm still nervous So yeah.
That's absolutely amazing. Tell us a bit about why you entered into this competition.
Well, word and sound has always been an interesting space for me. In that it's for me, my personal critique on it has always positioned performance over writing. In most cases. And I just wanted, and also it's always been performance based without reading. So I wanted to inject myself into the sound stage platform. And yeah, I thought I came to reading most of my poems and just enjoying it.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you do your poetry, how do you do it? Do you just think of a word and take it from there? Like, where do you get inspiration?
So it's a combination of several things. Sure, inspiration is one thing. You know, sitting around or like watching a movie or listening to music or having a conversation and you get that aha moment, you know, that click. But also sitting down and just writing. I think that's where most of my poems come through.
Yeah.
Instead of just waiting for that instant moment, you sit down, you set aside hours in the day and you like practice on writing different exercises, different things. So that's where most of my poems come from, like sitting down kind of thing.
And what about the memorizing part? I mean, how do you get all those amazing lines that you've written up and actually memorize for the day that you come on stage? I mean, isn't that like a lot?
110%. Definitely it is a lot. Sitting around and memorizing the poem. It takes time. You have to set aside hours to rehearse. But it's also an enjoyable experience going through your lines, feeling them. Sometimes it can be draining. Sometimes it can be quite exciting. But yeah, you have to sit down. You have to put in the work. Time.
Would you say you found your voice in poetry? What do you usually speak about when you in your poetry, or rather, should I say, recite? I'm not
Okay.
I'm trying here, okay?
I'm sure having a couple of jokes recently, people have been ex-poets, know what that means. But I do several things. So I explore sexuality, I explore masculinity, I explore history, I explore gender, I explore politics, I explore international politics. So anything that is of interest to me, it will be. I explore family, love, all these different things. So yeah, those are the things that inspire me, that keep me writing.
So I mean, let's just say on Saturday you actually win the competition. What's the title of your book gonna be?
Yo.
Come now, I'm sure you've thought about this.
I haven't thought that far, so I don't know. I would be lying to you if I told you anything different.
Well, we really wish you all the best. Good luck for everything. I hope you definitely enjoy the Word and Sound International Poetry Festival. And yeah, everybody, that was Mjelim Simang, who is one of the finalists of this great competition that's going to be happening on the 6th of October right here in Johannesburg. So, Qhakaza, poetry is major, because I saw her, there's the 22nd Poetry Africa Festival that's coming up in KwaZulu-Natal. Is that something that you would go to? Is that
I actually had the absolute pleasure of going a couple of years ago to Poetry Africa, and it was so amazing, man. Like it was great to be able to go to a poetry show or a poetry festival where I'm not the one who's running around and stressed out about the sound and the whatnot. But it's like one of the most like well respected festivals. You know, Poetry Africa has been running for years. You know, and then they managed to bring some amazing artists from around the world as well. You know, so even Tanya Evanson, how we got her onto our stages because she was just like, hey guys, I'm actually going to be in town or in the area for Poetry Africa, but I'd love to hit up Word and Sound as well, you know. So that's been really great, and I think that's also a relationship that would like to explore more. A few years ago when I went, we had Buddy Wakefield, so he was performing, a poet from the States. He was performing at our festival and then went through to Durban. But I mean, what I like about them is they do a lot of like community engagement, so going into schools. The program for the festival for the poets is jam-packed, man. Like us, I think it means a lot of performance opportunities, and that's really great. And then we have the 2 days of workshops, but for them it's an entire like full week of going to different schools, engaging with school kids, engaging with different community members actually about poetry, which is really amazing that they're able to do that. And then in the evenings some killer performances as well. So yes, Poetry Africa, if you are in Durban, is definitely a thing not to miss out on.
And let's talk about the workshops. I mean, how does it happen? So you come there, it's free, and then what does she do? Have you ever taken a workshop?
So I haven't taken one of Tanya's workshops, so I'm quite excited for it. And I think the nice thing about workshops, right, is that the facilitators are usually very open to like us like learning, right? So I'm not a performer. I don't really even write much or whatnot. But what I find is that with a lot of the master classes and the workshops that we've hosted before, I can go in as, you know, me and my crappy writing, and still be welcomed and everything, and learn from there, you know, because it's a skill, it's a thing that you're able to do. So it really is just about like if you're interested in exploring this writing thing, so you don't even have to be a master writer. I think what I also really like is it's also such like a safe space, so if you want to share what you've written, you can, or if you want to rather take it home with you and work on it, then you can do that. So there's a couple of workshops. One that I'm really interested in is a workshop titled Writing Under the Influence, and she also
Writing Under the Influence.
Yes. And the
So
first
you
line
sip a
is
bit and then what?
no, the first line of when we're describing what the workshop is for you to take a sip from a different kind of tavern.
Okay.
So basically what it is, it's about going into like a meditative state.
Okay.
And she does Sufi whirling, which is
What is that?
It's interesting things,
Yeah.
babes. It's some Eastern religious vibes, you know.
Okay.
But it's a form of meditation that does like a lot of spinning around, a lot of just like movement, listening to music, and really sort of tapping into like a trance-like state, and then for you to write from that space. I have never done a thing like that in my life.
Yeah.
So maybe I might find my inner poet deep down inside after sipping.
Maybe after
on some of that
sipping and
influence.
twirling, you'll find your voice.
Yeah, so I think it's yeah. So look, if you're interested in exploring a different side of you, and exploring maybe more of the performance, because also she's done slam poetry, she's done performance poetry, so there's also workshops on that, simple things like mic technique, you know, stage and all of that stuff. So it can go to very practical levels like that, and then as well some theoretical levels of writing. So it's 2 days. That's going to be really, really interesting on Thursday and Friday.
Wow, okay. I think let's twirl around a bit, play a jam, and after a song, then we'll talk to Clea, who's also another finalist that's in this competition. We'll talk to her just after we play this jam.
This is what you miss on brandlive.co.za.
We're broadcasting live in one of the boxes at 27 boxes. Hey, can I ask you something there? Can you please tell me, like, do you think like the post-90s, like, did they really fully integrate, you know?
Sure.
Since we're talking about integrating today, though.
But you do what? Civil engineering?
Civil engineering, yeah.
Okay, and how's that going for you?
It's okay.
So
It's
a whole
fine.
lot of studying?
School, it's a lot of studying.
And
I
banking
guess.
school, a lot of banking school.
I don't bank school. Like, I just don't go to school when they tell us not to go.
Lies. I've seen this with my eyes. Lies.
Someone was saying, I'm sure there's 10 soapies now happening.
Listen.
Same time.
I'm gonna say something, right? That might That might sound like I'm shading or hating or whatever. There's lots of work for actors right now, but lots of actors aren't working. Lots of people are acting.
Ooh. Insightful conversations.
At it again, you know, and we are about to talk to another finalist who is part of this competition, and his name is Clear, and he's been holding it down this whole year. You said Qhakaza, you said he's the poet of the year.
Yeah, so he is currently the poet with the most points on the league right now. So we run the league from February till September in order for us to get to the top 5. So out of the 5 finalists, he is currently number 1. But of course, this means nothing because on the day of the finale, everyone's points go down to 0, and it really is all about what you bring on the day. So if he doesn't mess it up, he's got a good chance of winning.
Damn, Clear. Is it clear to you that you are taking it? Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Clear. How you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm great. Are you confident? Is it clear to you that you are taking this this competition?
I don't want to say anything much then, because you know the brothers who are with me at the final, they can pull out a rabbit out of the head, or so I have to like be on my toes, because these brothers, they are full of tricks. These brothers, you know.
But how have you been holding it down the entire year? Clearly, you're doing something really, really good.
You know, as a poet and as an artist, number one, you have to like be on your A game, and also on top of that, what makes an artist is a person who can stand out and be original and do something that is out of the extraordinary, and also what the audience will never expect in terms of delivery, in terms of writing skills, in terms of performance. You know, all these things that are needed for an artist to really, really, really stand out.
And what would you say is that thing about you that actually stands out from the rest?
Wow. I can't say much because I try to find a loophole in everything and try to tighten everything together. As I said, those aspects of writing, performance, delivery, you know, also as well, articulation, pronunciation. These are the things that are very, very important, especially as a poet. So for me, I try to find loopholes in everything in the poetry realm, so to say, and fill that void and make it my own.
How did you get to the word clear? Like, what was it about that word that you thought, actually, this is my poetry name?
Well, okay, first and foremost, I am a yellow bone.
Hey now! Yellow bone!
I think, I think the yellow boneness doesn't even clarify the factor of being clear. I'm just joking. Okay, it started out as clear as fire because I had Rasta background influences and stuff like that. But I just simplified it as saying clear because I want to make my poetry and work be that clear of sound mind. You know what I mean?
You know what? The way Utamayanga thing right now, I feel like Ratwaranyana got a couple of lines. Why when only the poet of the year, my guy.
For real? All right. Let me throw something for y'all, okay? Wake up, God damn it, and smell the coffee. For when fate consumes the taste buds of time, men often forget to add such spices like faith and hope. Then universal norms become bland and all is lost in brood, teacup dreams. Reality becomes a dish that is best served cold over a dinner table that is not seasoned well with love. The past is a light starter that is overseen. The present is a heavy meal too much to consume, and the future is a dessert too sweet for a wisdom tooth. We set our minds to 180 degrees to be oven baked by the pains of history. Bucket thoughts interrupt the fellowship of breaking bread that takes place amongst gentlemen, being victims of Labor Days, trying to find a better way of living, only to find out that all of it was just for peanuts. And it is that 9 to 5 delicacies that fail to harvest the conscious mind state of a family tree, our needs and wants, our palates that are very unbalanced, and our interpretation of dreams are fried, medium rare. The comprehension of the human race is misplaced, and now everybody is calling everybody a vegetable head, where social ills are so real, which has caused ignorance to be a fruitful bliss. So now that the stakes are high, for we have beef with each other because our egos are scrambled.
Achoo. Yes, come now. Hello.
And the neighbors have planned. Oh, is that all?
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. I was in my vibe. I mean, yeah, it's because, you know, clearly I don't attend a lot of these poetry things. You know, but definitely I think I might pop in on Saturday at the Poetry League finale that's happening at the Market Laboratory, right?
Yep, that show is happening. Doors open around 12 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, that's where everybody should be. I mean, this was the poet of the year. Clear, yellow bone, clear, everything clear. So if you definitely want to check him out, do go out to the Market Laboratory on Saturday to check out Clear, who's the poet of the year, and see if he is gonna go away and take this award. What's the name of your book gonna be when you win this competition?
I have a lot of things on my mind, but we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. I have a lot of things in the drawing board, so I don't know. We'll see.
Is this what you're doing as a career, or are you doing any other creative things on the pipelines? Like, what's the plan?
Poetry and photography is my bread and butter, so I have nothing else that puts in the cash. So yeah, I'm gunning down for poetry and photography as my, what generates my income at the end of the day.
Not a lot of people are brave enough to do that kind of thing and to sustain a living and actually feel comfortable in the art space with just doing that. Have you found solace and decided that it's not going to be about getting extreme cash in the bank, but you're going to do because of the love? Or are you balling? Is this something? Are you balling?
Excuse me?
I'm asking if you're balling or if you're doing this for passion.
No, it's for both. Like, because you know what, there's nothing else that I love in life except for the arts, and also on top of that, it's a matter of me doing photography, poetry as a medium of as a career. You know what I mean? It's not peaches and cream at the end of the day, because the levels of art in South Africa being recognized is not that fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, it is what you do with what you have, and what you have and what you do with it is what builds you as an artist or as an individual with whatever career that you do. You know what I mean? So I do my best with whatever that I have, especially with poetry, going to gigs, doing whatever that I can, advertise myself, and also I'm also a poetry production director. I have a poetry production titled Speaking from Experience that won an award at the Market Theatre. It's been at the State Theatre 3 times now, so pushing things, doing the magic.
Clear. No, you definitely need to get into studio with us. Like next week, I know you might take this away. I have this thing, because already a poet of the year, I think I might put my money on you. And then we'll see.
Hey, bananas, hey, no pressure, no pressure. Hey, these brothers can do something to me,
eh? They better not. They better not. We really want you to take this. Thank you so much for speaking to us on Carve Radio. Yeah, that was clear. And he's the poet of the year, and he's also going to be at this competition that's taking place on Saturday at the Market Laboratory. For now, I think let's go play another jam. I mean, we were twirling around with Skumba the DJ. Let's go take a young one, and hopefully we'll talk about the live literature market that's also happening on Saturday, and hopefully we'll have Qhakaza on the line to tell us more about it.
Kill the verse, not the vibe. You can't deny. Are you the worst rapper alive? I can't decide. For everyone who passed away and died, I'm traumatized. I'm horrified and it's a feeling I just can't describe. But get ready for a lyrical wedgie, going straight to your belly like a bowl of spaghetti. I think you need starch as soon as my team march. We need to form a path to avoid autographs. The love is overwhelming. Young Van Helsing, the microphone is melting. I'm on my second helping and serving each client a CPT giant. Uncut diamond, buried on Treasure Island. Independent or signing, giving rappers a hiding. 021 are you dialing? Vibes we providing. Keep smiles on the neighbors who stay in my hood. So whenever I come to visit, vibrations are good.
I say I don't know what that is, but something got me feeling alright. Something got me feeling alright. Something got me feeling alright. Yes, got me busting on my good ride today. Something got me feeling alright. Something got me feeling alright. Something got me feeling alright. Made 30K. I just did the visuals for women like way. I'm unsigned but you paid like no.
Welcome back to Carve Radio. Do interact with us on Carve _radio on Instagram and Twitter. You know that we are streaming the show live on www.brandlive.co.za. Do interact with us. Let us know what you think. I mean, this is a great show that we're having. We're unpacking all things poetry, and we have a live literature market that's also happening. And I hope that we have Qhakaza on the line. Do we have Qhakaza on the line? Okay, we don't have Qhakaza on the line yet, but tell us a bit more about this live literature market. Why did you think, okay, it makes better sense to do a literature market? I mean, that's something no one has really experienced.
So what we're finding is that there's a lot of younger guys who are publishing books. So I think before it was just like, oh, you have to be old, you have to like really have done a lot for you to start publishing. But we're actually finding authors, I mean, younger and younger who are publishing. The nice thing as well about poets who like perform, who are also publishing, is that you can bring your book to life like by a performance, and then once you've got everybody all excited like you were after Claire's performance,
hey now,
you can just be like, yo, buy my book at the back, right? So
yeah,
what we're also trying to do is then how do we create different spaces where books exist, you know, so that books aren't these boring things, but it becomes a lifestyle, you know. How do we encourage young people to read, to publish their own work as well, you know, as I think by bringing it to spaces like this, by allowing authors to be able to interact as well with their audience, you know. So you can buy a book, you can meet the author, you can get it signed, you can, you know, they can also be there and bring it to life themselves, so that you're not necessarily hoping that someone walks past your book at a bookstore and it jumps out at them, you know, but you can actually legit put it in their hands and speak to them directly, and that connection between the writer and the reader is quite important. So we're exploring that, seeing it's the first time we do it. We'll see how it goes.
But how do you think the vibe is going to be like? Is there going to be music, food, that kind of thing?
So there's going to be some music. RT Bakery and Cafe has got some great food, from like pizzas to like baked stuff, burgers. They've got the work. So you can definitely come through, have your Sunday lunch with us. We'll have the jams playing as well, because what we're also trying to do is to also make it a social event. You know, like we're there to engage with the books, but then as well engage with each other, have the music playing, and then every now and again, like every 15 minutes or so, I'm going to pull up one of the authors. We do a young chat thing. Tell us about your book. Do a young reading for us. You know, like why should we? I mean, there's going to be books on sale. Why should I buy your book as opposed to everybody else's? You know, so just get to know the authors a bit more. Then we go back to the music. Allow people to buy the books, to sign, and do all that stuff. So it's going to be a very social lifestyle event that's really centered around bringing books to life.
And Retawa di Buga, hey? Retawa di Buga, but someone who's written a book, so it's called Laughing in My Father's Voice. Do we have him on the line now? Hey, Qhakaza, so how are you doing?
Hey, I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We're Retawa di Buga, so I get to Rowena, who managed to actually write a couple of books. What's your take on the whole live literature market that's going to be happening this coming Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, like, guys, like, I love the word as well, the live literature, right? Because it's not only just about books, right? It's about getting people involved, getting people alive as well. And how do we bring books to life? And so, you know, me, I started like slamming and competing on the Word and Sound stage. And now I've grown into a whole published author. You know, I have the aura of an author. And so it's really necessary. It's really necessary that people come through and experience what actually literature can be. That it's not just something that you are taught behind a chalkboard. That actually it's a thing that exists, that breathes, that like runs through your veins. You know.
Tell us about this book that you have, Laughing in My Father's Voice. What is the book about?
So Laughing in My Father's Voice within itself is an exploration of my ancestry and how that then, like, you know, links to my my lived experiences. So I've definitely taken traits from my father, and one of the most prevalent is my laughter. I laugh like my father, you know, and myself and my father's relationship hasn't always been the most the best relationship. But he's all, you know, trying to in his way. So I try to look at that, and I try to look at, like, having inherited that. Now, what do I share with other people? What do I share with my love? What do I share with the brothers? What do I share with my mother? What do I share with my friends? And so it's definitely, you know, trying to break down those barriers and those particular relationalities, trying to find healing, because laughing is important. You know, laughing heals us. And so I try to do in book people that connection across borders, from ancestry to descendants to relationships right now.
Okay, so now tell us about how you got into the poetry space. I mean, why did you decide, okay, Word and Sound, this is something that you think is a competition that you want to get into?
So I've always written, you know, and I've always performed. I was always a very, like, excitable kid that, like, as something is happening, I want to get into it. So poetry and performance was already there for me. But I mean, in terms of competition, I was really going in there to try improve then my writing, to improve my performance, and also to just, you know, self better through this manner. And I think that's also why it's so important, is that we are able to look within ourselves and ask ourselves who we are, and like offer, if not at least answers, at least other questions that lead to answers to other people. And so for me, that was always like the most important thing, to always question. And so that's why writing and competition for me is so important, to keep up with this questioning.
Wow, you know, I don't want to take too much time from you because I know that definitely on Sunday we'll be unpacking more of this when we talk about your book and at the live literature market. Thank you so much for staying on the line and coming through and just telling us a bit about your amazing work. And yeah, power to you, my guy.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be on line. Hi to all the listeners and power to all the poetry lovers and those that will soon love poetry.
Yeah, I'm snapping my fingers right now. I'm just like, yes, honey. Well, that was Kabi. So talking to us about Laughing in My Father's Voice. He's going to be out on Sunday for the live literature market that's happening right here in Johannesburg. What's the venue again?
RT Bakery and Cafe in Newtown.
You definitely don't want to miss it. And that's all we have for you on today's edition of Carve Radio. It was lovely having you in studio.
This was fun. You really actually got me really excited for festivals. So I hope all the listeners are also excited. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Good luck. I know that it's going to be an absolutely amazing one. Do go onto the Word and Sound page on Facebook. It's called Word and Sound Poetry. Follow them. That's where all the details are of the breakdown of the festival and what's going to be happening. You definitely really don't want to miss this. Maybe I can also get there and find myself a poetry slamming bag, because who knows? Hey,
what's up, babes?
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za.